When people hear my son's story, they usually think about the surgeries, the emergency air ambulance flights, the doctors, the hospital stays. And yes, those things were a huge part of our lives back then. But today, I wanted to tell you about something that's much smaller, something that taught me one of the most important lessons that I've ever learned. When Lucas was just a couple months old, he was still in the hospital and he was intubated. He was connected to tubes and wires. And by that point, we'd already been through more medical challenges than most families experience in a lifetime. As a mom, there was something that kept bothering me. Babies are supposed to move. They're supposed to kick their feet, try to use their arms, reach for toys, discover that they have hands, learn what their little bodies can do. But Lucas wasn't able to do that like most babies could. At home, I could have just laid him down on a blanket with colorful toys around him. I would have watched him wiggle and reach and explore. But hospital life doesn't work that way. Everything had to work around this equipment that was keeping him alive. So I started asking myself some questions. How can I help him be a baby? Not a patient, not a diagnosis, just a baby. One day I came up with the idea of bells, tiny little bells. I made these fabric bracelets and I attached these little bells onto them. And then I carefully placed them around his wrists and his ankles. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but if this was a test, at first he moved a little bit, a tiny little kick. He could hear the bell jingle, a small wave of his hand, another jingle. Then something amazing happened. He started making the connection. Move, hear the bell. Move again, hear it again. For the first time, he was discovering that he could make something happen. He could interact with the world around him. Every little sound became a reward for him. Every little jingle became a victory. And I sat there watching him with tears in my eyes because in that moment, he wasn't just surviving, he was living. The doctors and the nurses were doing incredible work. They were handling surgeries and ventilators and medications. My job was different. My job was to bring a little bit of childhood into that hospital room. My job was to find moments of normal in a situation that was anything but normal. And that day, those tiny little bells did exactly that. Looking back now, I realize this lesson applies to all of us. We spend so much time waiting for big victories, big promotions, the retirement date, the business breakthroughs, the huge milestones. But life isn't built on big victories. Life is built on tiny little bells, small moments, small wins, small signs that we're moving forward. When I started building my online business, there weren't giant breakthroughs. There were tiny little bells. One subscriber, one comment, one sale, one person saying thank you. That helped me. Those little moments really matter because they mean progress, and progress creates hope. Lucas taught me that before he could even speak. His body was fragile, but his spirit was strong. And every tiny little jingle reminded me that even in the hardest circumstances, forward is still forward. Sometimes resilience doesn't look dramatic. Sometimes resilience sounds like the soft chime of a tiny little bell in a hospital room. And sometimes those small victories are exactly what give us the strength to keep going. So today, I want you to leave with a question. What's the tiny bell in your life right now? What's the small victory that you're overlooking because you're focusing on a bigger goal? Take a moment to celebrate it because those small victories matter more than you think. And sometimes they're the very thing that carry us through. If this story resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small victory that you've had recently? I'd love to celebrate it with you.